Hello and welcome to another episode of All Elite Arcade. It is Monday morning, afternoon, night. It could also be another day, but these release every single Monday, every single week. Myself and the Chugs are about to discuss video games, and I hope you're there for it. Chugs, I know for a fact you've played a lot this week. I've played a minute amount. So before I let you have the floor, because you actually have a library of very interesting games that you have to talk about, I will quickly talk about what I played this week because I've been traveling. Both of us have been traveling a lot, actually. You went to Mexico. We went to Seattle. I'm in Canada
back
now.
And forth.
Yes, you did a back forth as well. I ended up staying, climbing mountains and stuff.
Nice.
But I ended up playing a very little amount because I brought my Steam Deck with me. So most of my games this week are Steam Deck only. I talked about Date Everything, I believe, last week. That is the video game where you quite literally can date everything. You put some glasses on, you talk to different objects in the room, and they become essentially like human versions of the objects that you talk to them. I have played maybe 4 more hours. I'm enjoying it. I think it's very fascinating to have the freedom to explore the entire house and just kind of interact with anything. But I think the beauty of it now is I'm starting to realize there's secrets to it where there are characters that are only unlocked by advancing certain conversations with certain characters. And so I'm starting to see there's a through line to getting to rooms that I didn't know were in the house. So like the attic, there's a crawl space. And now I'm trying to decipher like who I have to interact with to get into those rooms to unlock maybe the end of the game. Maybe they're just secrets. I'm not quite sure. They don't really knock you on the head with the information. You're piecing it together. So I'm enjoying that as of yet. I do enjoy the little puzzle aspect of trying to build enough relationships with people to get the information to maybe figure out how to open a thing. What's even more cool is it seems that on a surface level, this is about dating, but it would seem that there's actually a nefarious means to what you're doing. I'm starting to catch on that like certain characters are insinuating that what you're doing is not what you think you're doing. And I don't know where that's going to lead. I think I'm going to keep getting to talk about Date Everything in a little while. I'll be playing it in a little bits, though, because it is so audio, visual novel focused that I can't do more than like 3-4 hours at a time. It's not like a video game where I get to manipulate a ton of stuff, and so therefore I feel like I'm not using my brain faculties. I'm strictly listening to stuff. So I've only played 3-4 hours. I will be back with more information on Date Everything, but it is quite interesting. There seems to be a lot more to it than just dating 110 objects in your house. Other than that, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm very curious now to see where the story goes. I like the idea that the characters are implying you're maybe doing something that you're not aware of, or the story going somewhere that you're not aware of. So that's pretty cool. I'm definitely excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything because this could be what it is. It could not be. But there seems to be maybe these glasses were meant for a military thing. And so now I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I get more information about this? So it's very, very interesting for a game that I was viewed as just a place to have illicit relationships with objects. Other than that, I also played Monster Train 2. Not much more to add to it. It is incredible. I'm having such a hard time trying to beat what I believe is called Covenants, which is like you have your base game. Covenants is essentially making them a notch harder, and when you unlock those, you unlock more stuff, and I think there's a total of 10. I can't even beat the first one. I'm still trying to figure out what card decks to mix with what card decks, what exactly is the best use of all the characters that you slowly unlock. So I'm advancing on that. I've played a lot of that on my Steam Deck this week, but it's very hard for me to say new content about it because it's purely a card game. I've gotten new heroes for my decks, and I've gotten new pyres for my train, but mostly I've been hitting a wall. Just I cannot get through this one layer of difficulty. So I will probably play 100 more hours of this game, but at this moment, not a whole lot to advance. One thing I did want to discuss, so this is all I ended up doing this week. I did end up downloading a game, and I did want to talk about a game that's coming up because those are the two games I'm now most excited for. I know you know about this one, but people may not know. No Rest for the Wicked, which is from the people who made Ori and the Blind Forest. They are making a third-person Souls-like-ish. It's not exactly like a Souls because it has like almost an isometric view. It's not behind the shoulder or behind the back. It is a little more from the top.
It's really cool.
It looks really cool. It's in early access. They just dropped a big bundle of new information, but also new content for the game as well. And it's getting when it initially came out, I think it came out with such little content that people viewed it very negatively, and now a year into its early access, people have turned around on it and are starting to give it very positive reviews on Steam. We just had I think it is still on, but the Steam Summerfest summer sale is on right now, so you can get it for a good percentage off. And so I'm really excited for this because a lot of my friends have been playing it and have told me it is the best game they've played in years, which is crazy considering the library of games we played this year. Right. So I just wanted to give it a quick nod because I think by next week I will have put a lot of time into it. I'm very excited. And it runs on a Steam Deck, which makes my life so much easier.
Udo, that's huge for me because same thing. I've been looking forward to this game since it was announced, and then seeing the updates along the way. The No Rest for the Wicked is definitely one of my most anticipated games. Again, Moon Studios making Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This does look like such a cool. The art style is so amazing. The combat looks awesome. It looks really difficult though too.
Yes.
After just seeing some footage of people play it, but I want to get this on my Steam Deck as well. I was gonna wait maybe until the full release came out, but this update seems so big that I'm like, hey, I think I'm just going to jump into it. I think I'm going to jump into it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how much more. I didn't get to see the roadmap, so I don't even know how far we are from a 1.0 release. The thing with these early access games is that they could go on for years and years. You could feel like you have a full product, and you could still be 3 years away from full content being out. At this moment, though, I do feel pretty good about my purchase about it because I saw it has about 20 plus hours of content already, and to me that's a full game already. So I'd be willing to. I'm going to look up the roadmap. Maybe next week we'll get to discuss how much left of it is to go because I will have put some time in by next week.
Yeah.
And then the last game I wanted to preview real quick before we jump into your games is: have you heard of Shadow Labyrinth?
I sure have.
Okay.
I sure have.
So Pac-Man is hitting an anniversary this year, and instead of making a proper Pac-Man game, they've gone and done one of the wildest things I think they could have done, and they've made a Metroidvania game where Pac-Man is actually a secondary character. He's like a floating orb. Think of like Ghost in Destiny, where it's following you around, or the fairy in Zelda. It follows you around. And it's a combat-focused Metroidvania, so it's like a very dark theme where occasionally your little robot Pac-Man guy will then have to solve Pac-Man pellet puzzles for you to get to other regions. I don't know why they would do this because it does not seem... I can't think of a one-to-one on how you get there. I did hear, though, and you could maybe confirm this, this is actually based on the Amazon series Secret Level, where they did a bunch of video game episodes, and you had told me, and I still haven't watched it, that I needed to watch the Pac-Man episode.
Dude, the Pac-Man episode on Secret Level is so good. I still have not finished the entire series, but so far I've seen like 8 or 9 of the episodes. The Pac-Man one was by far my favorite. It is bizarre. It's horrifying. It's incredible. So the fact that they're basing an entire game off of this level has me even more excited. So definitely go out of your way to watch that Pac-Man Secret Level episode. It's wild. It's wild.
So that comes out the same week, right before my birthday, for the same week as Donkey Kong. So in 3 weeks' time. That's a weird week to drop because I think Donkey Kong will sell a bunch. But this seems to be a budget game. It's I believe only $30 $5 maybe even $30. So very excited for it. I will watch the secret level episode beforehand because I'd love to hear what the context of this is, because on a surface level alone, this seems like the wildest use of Pac-Man. It just does not seem like what they would do as an anniversary celebration, but I'm there for it. Like, I love Metroidvania games, and I love a dark theme. If you're doing a revamp of Pac-Man and it's suddenly adult, I think that's super interesting, and I definitely want to put some time into it this month.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Again, those two games that you mentioned with No Rest for the Wicked and Shadow Labyrinth both look really, really awesome. But same thing. I never in a million years imagined Pac-Man being in a situation like this. But again, I'm going to take the words right out of your mouth. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's going to be good.
On your end, you played a whole lot of stuff. And honestly, I can't wait for them to hear about your final battles with a specific game, because I need to know how it went. So please take the floor, Chugs.
Absolutely. So once again, travel schedule has been wild, but this week I did manage to get a good amount of gaming in, which is nice. First of all, I always bring it up, but Pokemon trading card game Pocket, I'm still going through. We got a brand new pack, which is really, really nice. It's like an Eevee inspired pack where you can get all these different Eevees and things like that, but really, really cool. I think it has maybe close to 70, like 69 or 70 cards in the pack. So it's not super, super huge, but it's awesome. Again, the battles are continuing to gain more and more traction as far as the things that you can do, the tools that you can equip, the decks that you can build. So that's been really, really fun. But to jump right into it, for any listeners who have been listening for any amount of time know that I have been playing Nine Souls on my own, which is just this incredible Metroidvania, an incredibly difficult Metroidvania. And I had been stuck on the final boss for a very, very, very long time. And I am proud to say I have beaten Nine Souls. And funny enough, Nine Souls is the 9th game that I've beaten this year as well. So I'm like, oh, that was perfect. But my God, I've talked about this before, but the final boss of that game is one of the most challenging things that I've ever had to do. And when the day that I beat it, it was like I fully accepted that even little progress, like getting through phase 1 and getting halfway down to phase 2, that was progress. Then getting through phase 1, getting 40% or 60% of the way through on phase 2, that was progress. So I was dying over and over and over again, but I was learning the fight every single time, because you have to learn this fight. There are so many small nuances to the moves that the final boss does that you really have to pay attention to, like based on where their arm is determines what type of move they do. The reaction time needs to be so quick. But the parrying is so satisfying and timed so well. Like the second you're about to get hit, when you press that button, the parry timing is perfect. Like, for example, I'm going to get into this later, but the Lies of P parrying timing is a little bit different than Nine Souls. So that was like really messing with me initially, but now I'm getting the hang of that as well. But just an unbelievable boss fight. On top of that, I got to a point where I got really, really good at phase 1 and really, really good at phase 2. And then when I finally made it to phase 3, it is indeed the most insane, difficult phase. I mean, he is attacking so often, and you have to parry so many things. And also you have to decide what type of parry that you want to use. There's just so much going on. But I did finally beat the final boss with like 1 HP left. If I would have taken one hit, it would have been over. I had no heals, barely any health. So like my hands were shaking afterwards. My heart's beating out of my chest. It was that like adrenaline rush that you get from beating a really, really difficult boss. So again, Nine Souls, I can't say enough about this game. The story was emotional. I got a little emotional at the end of the game. The music is incredible. The combat is amazing. The art style is great. It overall is just an absolutely incredible Metroidvania. And honestly, I think, and I love Metroidvanias. I love Last Faith and Blasphemous and Ender Lilies and Ender Magnolia. I think Nine Souls is my second favorite Metroidvania of all time now. I can't recommend that game enough. So if you're looking for a challenge, if you're waiting for Silksong like the rest of the world, I cannot recommend Nine Souls enough. It's an absolutely amazing game. So glad that I was able to finish that finally. And now going forward, I'm going to be jumping back into Expedition 33 finally.
Hell yeah.
Didn't make too much progress in Expedition 33, but I've also come to terms with the fact that because I'm traveling so much, I have Expedition 33 downloaded on my PC and on my Steam Deck. I'm sure a majority of my playthrough is going to be on my Steam Deck because I want to play it so bad. I've been thinking about that game since I first started it a while ago. So excited to jump back into that as well. But also speaking of gaming, and I did mention this earlier, but streaming wise, I have put the 5-game cycle completely on hold, which I did mention last time, but I've made some more progress in the Liza P Overture DLC. Once again, this DLC is incredible. I didn't expect there to be so much juicy lore and so much like good story in this DLC, but the story has been really, really awesome, and it's really shaping up to be something really cool. Right now, we're looking for this legendary stalker, if you will. Again, you'd go back in time in this DLC, which is really, really cool. You start off in like a snow area, and I've gotten to the point now where I'm at a carnival. And the cool thing about this carnival, and minor spoilers for the Liza P Overture DLC, but you literally get to play carnival games. And then you get rewards. So there's like all these mini games in between fighting these enemies along the way, which was such a cool little new feature, which I really enjoyed. But once again, I had mentioned how difficult this DLC is, and it sure is very difficult. But once again, after playing it a few days in a row and getting in the swing of things, I'm kind of getting back into that Liza P style of gameplay, and it's been so much fun. I'm really, really excited to try out some new weapons. I got a new Legion arm. There's new outfits. There's new everything. This DLC has so much stuff packed into it, and I'm not even close to being done. I was very, very happy. Is the first boss that I fought, I died to a dozen times, probably, maybe over a dozen times. But then I got to the next boss, which was like a duo fight. And I won't say who it is, but I was able to first try that boss, which I was like super pumped about. So definitely getting back into the groove. But yeah, the Liza P DLC is so awesome. If you played Liza P, you know how good the game is. Definitely play the DLC. And in addition to that, just some casual gaming on my own. Once again, me and my brother, anytime we're together, we love the chance to game together. And obviously the newly released Switch 2, we're really enjoying. Put some more time into Mario Kart World, which again has been fun. Don't really have any new additional things to say other than Knockout Tour is just still the greatest mode in Mario Kart ever. I love it. But we also decided to play the Resident Evil HD remaster, the one that was originally released on the GameCube, then came to Xbox and PlayStation, and now also the Switch 2. First and foremost, it runs and looks incredible. Absolutely incredible. We had it hooked up to the TV. Again, the game looks great. It performs great. So that's really, really cool to know as far as some of these older titles.
Is it a part of the GameCube library, or do you get this? You have to separately or buy it separate?
Yes, this is a purchase.
Okay.
So this is the HD remaster, actually. So not even the original GameCube one. But again, I believe there was a sale or something going on as well. But again, the Resident Evil HD remaster runs great. And then just in regards to that game, I can't get over how absolutely gorgeous this game still looks. Like, it's a beautiful game. It may be it's one of the best looking tank control RE games ever. Like that and Zero just look so good. So, and I do really appreciate, again, as we talk more and more about remakes and remasters, when they decided to remake the original Resident Evil that is regarded as just so important in the history of survival horror, and people cherish that game. The additions that they made, just the little additions, are so good to where now I just imagine that as the canon, the real thing that happens within Resident Evil. When I think of Resident Evil 1, I think of that GameCube or Xbox PlayStation remaster. Like the addition of Lisa Trevor was such a cool little detail in that game. But it still is, again, at the heart of it, it still is the original Resident Evil. So I love going back and playing these classic survival horror games. I grew up playing them. So the original Resident Evil, the HD remaster, is still just as fun as ever. And we're about, I'd say halfway through. We made sure it's saved. We might even finish it this weekend. We'll see. So,
hell yeah.
But yeah, it was fun getting to jump back into that awesome game. And that was about it for me.
Sweet. I mean, a lot of games both of us have played. If you are playing something different, honestly, neither of us have touched new releases this week. I have no idea. I have no idea what came out. So if you're playing something new or you're playing something that you're very interested in that you think we should know about, youtube.com/awgames. Get in the comments down below. We're always looking for game suggestions because we're constantly playing video games, especially if we could play it on a console I could bring on a plane. I will definitely be playing it. That is by far where we get the most time played.
Oh, yeah.
That is it for video games we played this week, but that is not it for our podcast because there's a bunch of news of the week, and it comes to us right after this. And we're back. It's time to discuss our news of the week. It is late June. We're about to head right into July. This episode will drop actually in July. A bunch of stuff has happened, and a bunch of games are about to come out as well. So let's get right into it. Capcom just dropped a big spotlight on a bunch of their games. We just got to see a ton of them at Summer Games Fest. Well, they're following up Summer Games Fest by having a deep dive into a bunch of their expected releases, including Monster Hunter Wilds, Pragmata, Street Fighter, and of course Resident Evil Requiem. It all started with Pragmata. They just showed a big deep dive into the gameplay, including introducing more of the secondary character Diana, who is the reason why we're capable of doing spells and hack and stuff. They showed some of the gameplay of the hacking and of the combat as well, including some of the stuff that you were talking about, where it's the puzzle elements for both the hacking and the spells to try. And essentially you do these puzzles to successfully perform your spell or your hack. So they got to show a big deep dive into that, and they also reinforced that this will be coming out next year in 2026. It still looks great.
It really does. And I'm so glad that Capcom did this, because to try to explain it, for me, actually, was kind of difficult. So the fact that Capcom was able to show this gameplay and how it works, of, again, her doing that spell to make the enemies vulnerable for it to then become like a third-person shooter at that point, just really, really cool concept that I hadn't seen before, and looks beautiful. So once again, Pragmata, I am absolutely keeping my eyes on. I had a blast checking it out at Summer Game Fest, and this trailer is awesome.
Yeah, and just to confirm, it does seem like it will be coming to everything minus Switch 2. No announcement on Switch 2 quite yet, but it will be on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox X and S, all in 2026. No exact date quite yet. The next time I think we're going to hear from it is Gamescom 2025 in August. That's in Germany, and I'm going to give you the little heads up, I'm going to Gamescom this year.
Let's go.
I know.
No.
Actually,
nice.
We could discuss this off stream, but it is the week that we're in Europe. If you wanted to go, that is why I'm going.
Are you kidding me? I would love to go.
Okay.
Dude. Oh my God. Let's go.
Off,
that'd be awesome.
Off screen, let's see what I can arrange for that.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I've had a great experience there, and I think you would have a blast for sure.
Yeah, I've never been, so that would be to be able to go to Summer Game Fest and Gamescom with you this year. That'd be, again, greatest gaming year ever. Let's go.
Hell yes. Go. 2025, a great year. And 2025 continues on because Street Fighter 6 actually has an update. A new character, Sagat, will be introduced on August 5th. We got to see a little bit of a trailer about Sagat with his moves and his animations and his and a teaser for his EX finisher. I believe the Fighting Pass is available right now. It starts on July 4th. That includes like a bunch of stickers, avatars, challenger screen illustrations that you can change. But Sagat will be coming out on the 5th of August, and then followed that will be Sea Viper, Ingrid, and Alex, which we all know from Summer Games Fest with that Kenny Omega trailer. So that is all coming out very soon. But that's not all for Street Fighter 6 updates, because they also announced that on August 5th, a bunch of new outfits will be coming out. If you're into that stuff, 7 characters are going to be getting swimsuit outfits. To each their own, but Cammy, Luke, Chun-Li, Manon, Jamie, Kimberly, and Aki are all getting their own swimsuit outfits. Those will be out August 5th. Capcom also then talked about Resident Evil Requiem. They didn't show a bunch of They showed some overview and some content, but it was really more of an overview of the story and why they chose certain characters. A lot of people are questioning, okay, this is supposed to be a game that's 30 years removed from. Actually, they said which game, and I forget.
The Raccoon City incident. So I think the end of RE3. Yeah.
Okay, so it's supposed to be 30 years removed from that. And people are wondering, like, well, where's Leon? First of all, 30 years removed, that means Leon would be old. But secondly, they actually, the director had a little interview portion where he explained that while they definitely did want to use Leon, Leon is like, isn't scared of any of the things that happened in Resident Evil. He's a tough boy. He's seen it all. And they think like a new character would actually play better into the horror element. You got to see a little bit of this, Chugs?
I did, yeah. And exactly what you said. They didn't show too much. They just explained, again, a little bit more of the story and why they wanted to go this approach to really bring that feeling of horror and tension back, which to me makes total sense. But I don't know. This might be an interesting take. But with them bringing up Leon and things like that, I don't think necessarily we can assume that Leon is not in some capacity in Resident Evil Requiem or Resident Evil 9, especially with the fact that they brought it up. And now, again, at Summer Game Fest, when they said, hey, we're going to give you some updates in the blink of an eye, we'll tell you in a bit. And then 30 minutes later, they showed it. They may be trying to divert us from from expecting Leon Kennedy in any capacity. So, but again, who knows? It'll be tough to say. But their lead character seems perfect for this role. Again, the game seems horrifying. It seems terrifying. So yeah, really, really cool trailer that, again, you and the rest of the world just can't wait for.
Yeah, I can't wait to play it. And I'm in the same boat as you. I think it's almost a guarantee there's a secondary character, and it's going to be Leon. Yeah. You're probably going to... And if you played at other Resident Evil games, you're replaying most of these games the second time with a different character to see an alternate path. It would not surprise me if you play half this game, you see a couple interactions with Leon, and then you get to play Leon's side.
That'd be so cool.
That's what I hope. That's like the proper way of doing it, Capcom. You've done it with all the other Resident Evils, so...
Well, because Uno, it has been a minute since I guess with RE4 Remake, you get to see Ada's side of the story. But I always think of how well done Resident Evil 2 was. Mm-hmm. How it was like you got different characters that you interacted with, different paths, the A and B scenarios. If we got something like that for Resident Evil Requiem, that would be, I agree. That'd be so cool.
And I think because it's supposed to be like a sequel to the earlier Resident Evils and not necessarily, although all of them are kind of attached, not a chain from 7 and 8. I think that's the approach. I think that would be incredible to see. I'm very excited to see this game. We will be getting it next year. Oh, no, late this year, actually, right? Or is it next year? Yes. I forget.
Or wait, is it? I think it's... Why do I think it's next year?
Let me see if I have this.
Is it February 2026?
It might be spring of next year, actually. I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm going to look as well.
Okay.
Let's see. Yep, February 2026.
Okay,
yep.
There you go. The man knows. Okay. The man knows.
So good guess.
You would think that would be the big one because Resident Evil's their biggest release to be coming. But they actually also updated a bunch of stuff for Monster Hunter Wilds. I've not played Monster Hunter Wilds, but a lot of people are actively still into it. It came out just recently. They just dropped a free update. As of the day our podcast launches, it will be out. It adds a bunch of new stuff, including a festival seasonal event that will be on there from July 23rd through August 6th. There's going to be some exclusive bosses that go through a certain time. There's a Fender guitar quest, which I don't know what kind of collaboration that is, but you can get a Fender guitar in the game somewhere between August 27th and September 24th. They also showed a bunch of underwater fights with a boss called Lagiacrus, as well as a ton of quality of life updates from the people that I know who play this game. They're very excited for that specifically. Like the quality of life updates, I guess, are the things everyone is looking for. And they said, because this was more of a roadmap, they are expecting another free update launching late September that will have a new monster as well as more Festival of Accord seasonal events. So that is Capcom's doing great this year.
Capcom is crushing it, absolutely crushing it. And again, Monster Hunter Wilds, from the footage I've seen and the little bit that I've played in the previous games, this has been a game in my backlog that I've been meaning to jump back into, to jump into. It looks awesome, and I'm glad to hear they're getting a lot of cool big new updates as well. Yeah, Monster Hunter is a series I seriously every year I'm like, I'm gonna get into it. So maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year.
I always tell myself this is the one, and then for whatever reason I get caught up with another game another game. There's just so much going on. So that was it for the Capcom Spotlight, but Capcom actually has an even it's been in the news cycle all week, because not only are they doing great on the gaming side, Street Fighter the movie, which will be coming out in 2026, is making a ton of noise, and that is because they started announcing the cast for the next movie. And I want to discuss this with you because I don't know if you know who the cast is in this. When I start listing who is in this movie, it will not seem like a real project, because it is the who's who of like every. I can't do this justice, so I'm just going to go out and read every person that's supposed to be in the Street Fighter list, and you could just act amazed, because there's no way this is what it's supposed to be.
Oh, now I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
All right, so this game comes out in 2026. We already know that Jason Momoa was going to be in it as Blanca. That's fine, I guess. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be CGI. I don't know if they're going to paint him green. We'll see. I think that's fine. Jason Momoa is in all the movies. That makes a ton of sense. But here's where things start getting weird. All right. 50 Cent is Balrog. So 50 Cent is an actor now. He's actually a Grammy award-winning rapper as well, if you did not know. And it looks like he will be the boxer Balrog in the movie. Roman Reigns is in the movie, and he's Akuma.
Oh, my God. Let's go.
Yeah, so that's... who the hell thought he would be in this movie? No one knows. The Andrew Koji is Ryu. He was... he's a known an action star from, like, he was Storm Shadow in the Snake Eyes movies. He was in that TV series Warrior. He'll probably be the one who does a lot of the fight choreography stuff in this. He's kind of one of the more action focused guys, whereas everyone else is kind of coming from everywhere, from all kinds of worlds. We've got Ken is Noah Centineo. He's a Disney Channel sitcom star. I've never heard of him. He seems to do mostly romance movies. Odd choice. Okay. Then you've got Kalina Liang as Chun-Li. She was in the Steven Soderbergh horror movie Presence most recently. Orville Peck is Vega. Orville Peck is the country singer who wears a mask. Sure?
Dude.
Sure?
I love this cast, dude. Oh, man.
It's... as of yet, it is looking to be the craziest thing ever. And I'm sure there'll be...
What a wild movie.
There'll be even more. And if I remember correctly, actually, let me just make sure I don't misinform you guys. But...
Sure.
Also, Guile seems to be... oh, my God. What is this guy's name? He was like Jack Reacher or something from...
okay.
The big hulking dude. What
I
the
know.
hell?
I literally call him Jack Reacher. I unfortunately can't remember his name, but yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's like a 6'3" actor. He's ginormous. He's actually in a ton of action movies right now.
Everyone listening, I'm sure, knows Jack Reacher as well. So yeah.
And they also casted Dan as well, so that Dan is essentially the weakest Street Fighter character in the world. He's also in this movie. I cannot remember who exactly that is, but. All to say, 50 Cent, Jason Momoa, Orville Peck,
Roman Reigns.
You would never have seen this coming years and years ago, and I'm sure there's still more people to be announced. I'm very excited to see this because this will either,
Me too.
and I'm about to swear, I'm sorry, this will be either amazing or a complete shit show, and I'm there for it regardless. I can't wait. Did you hear about the co-op indie game Peak?
No, I don't think so. Or maybe, but it's not coming to me right now.
So this is released in the last month. It's a co-op rock climbing game.
Yes.
It's been used on streams and on YouTube videos. And the thing that's most surprising of it is that the little indie game that cost less than $200,000 to make, and they've now just surpassed 2 million sales.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
That's an
incredible.
That's an insane amount of sales for such a small game. So they're just raking in the dough.
Good for them.
And it looks like they will. The studio is going to keep expanding on this. And so we will see more updates to Peak. I have not played it quite yet, but honestly, I probably will in the next week. In fact, AW Games, twitch.tv/AW Games, I will be hosting some of the streets in the next few weeks. Peak will be one of those games we'll be playing.
Nice.
Last, I've got 2 news pieces, one good and one curiosity that I want to discuss. Xbox. They seem to be doing well, but it does not seem to be doing that well internally because it seems like they will be having even more layoffs at Microsoft. This comes from what is already a bad year for Xbox because they have already released a bunch of people. I think on this podcast alone, we've had 3 news pieces about widespread cuts.
Yep.
Well, it looks like that Bloomberg has announced that Microsoft plans on making another major job cut across the Xbox division. So it's not specifically Microsoft. This will be specifically geared to Xbox. Obviously this is to be seen. We don't know the amounts of this, but they laid off in January 2024, 1,900 people when they acquired Activision Blizzard. And so they probably folded some teams into other teams. Then in September 2024, they released 650 more people. And then May of this year, they said that Microsoft cut 6,000 people across the entirety of Microsoft. Phil Spencer came out when they started doing this and said that they're trying to run a sustainable business inside the company while growing. And that means, unfortunately, that sometimes you have to make hard decisions you do not love, but decisions that they need to make. It sucks. It sucks to hear. Yeah. And I would love to know, is that Xbox Microsoft business not doing well? Is this the height of AI? Is this folding all these companies that they've acquired? Because Microsoft has acquired major companies over the last 10 years. And slowly, and from any acquisition, if there's a merger or an acquisition of another company, it's almost guaranteed people will get fired because people do the same roles and eventually it gets melded all together. But we're at a point where they've released over 8,000 people in a year. Crazy to think, and it seems like more people are to come. So not good news for Xbox for sure.
Yeah. Which again, like you had said, it's interesting to think about the reasoning behind it, of course. But at the end of the day, it's just never good news. Never exciting to hear all these layoffs, especially in that amount as well. So yeah, just a bummer all around.
Mm-hmm. And now, because I don't want to end on a bad news, let's go on the lighter side for Xbox. Xbox and Meta have officially released a limited edition black and green Meta Quest 3S bundle. So essentially, Meta Quest 3S is the latest Meta Quest device. That is the VR helmet. You can play all kinds of VR titles on there. By far, I would say if you're going to make an investment on a VR helmet, from what I have played, this is your best bet. The thing that I'm most fascinated by this is that Microsoft has never made a VR game.
Right.
And so what are the implications of them making an exclusive device or an exclusive, at least Microsoft-branded MetaQuest in 2025 when they've just also announced the ROG Ally, which is another partnership device? Do you think we're getting Microsoft games in VR?
I certainly hope so.
Me too.
I hope this is the start of Microsoft and Xbox kind of jumping into that realm, because it's cool that PlayStation has the PSVR 2 with their own exclusive games on that. So like jumping into that genre from Microsoft and from Xbox would be so cool. Again, like you had mentioned, they're jumping into the handheld market and partnering with the Ally there. But this is cool because, man, imagining like a VR Halo game. Are you kidding me? I'd be all over that. So yeah, I really hope this is exactly what that means. And it's, I mean, obviously as a collector's item, it's very cool that there's this, exclusive collector's edition Xbox MetaQuest. But yeah, to get some actual software, some actual games for this thing, man, I'm all for it. Give me a Halo virtual reality game, please.
So I'm going to make a bold claim, because they did say that we would hear about Halo properties at the Halo Championships. They teased that during Summer Games Fest, that you will hear more about an Halo game or a Halo game very soon. And I would not be surprised if we get multiple Halo games and one of them is this tease of a VR title. Even if they were to repurpose a previous game, like if I could play any of the first 4 Halos but in VR, I think that's plenty. That's plenty.
Oh yeah.
But if
absolutely,
and they've remastered those so many times, I'm sure to some extent they know that software. They know how to probably switch it over to VR over time. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's that, but I would also not be surprised if they just make a brand new Halo, an experience exclusive for this MetaQuest. Or, I mean, this is all speculation, but it does seem like a really weird move if you're not going to do anything with MetaQuest other than releasing a headset.
Sure. And this is wild to think about, but 6 years ago, I went to Halo Outpost Discovery. It was for my 30th birthday. It was a really cool Halo event. And one of the things they had, and it was super basic, but was virtual reality Halo, where you saw the Spartans on the other side, which were real people. And then with the controller, you would charge up a plasma pistol and shoot it at your opponents. And again, it was bare bones, but it was awesome. It felt so cool to feel like you were holding and charging a plasma pistol and like moving around to try to not get hit. So yeah, it has me really excited that the idea of whether it's a remaster or a remake of an original game or a brand new Halo title that's maybe a little more compact, I'm all for it. All for it. I hope this is what it means.
I mean, and especially if 6 years ago you were already playing what might have been a prototype, 6 year cycle for a video game seems pretty realistic. There's a very good chance we're going to see this. So yeah, bold claim by us, but one that I think we might be onto something for sure.
I think so too.
Let us know what you think. YouTube.com/AWGames. Get in those comments. Also, you can watch our video formats over there. That if you're not listening on podcasts or wherever your podcast may be, you can also watch it on YouTube. See our beautiful faces. YouTube.com/AWGames. That would be it for the podcast, but it is not, because our favorite segment of the show, the mailbag, comes to us right after this. Welcome back. It is time for our favorite segment of the show, and that is the Arcade Mailbag, brought to you by our friends at Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025's Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autographs, memorabilia, and premium tech inserts. We actually have a pack to unpack right here on stream. Here we go, Chugs. What do we have today?
We sure do. We got a fresh, brand new 2025 pack, and starting off strong.
Ooh, Christian Cage. We've got the Acclaimed.
Nice.
We've got Bryan Danielson.
There we go.
Wheeler Yuta with a lot less hair.
Yeah.
Harley Cameron.
There we go. Ooh, a shiny.
Ooh, a shiny House of Black.
There.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Ooh, what? Oh, look at that.
Oh, I've never seen one of these ones. Neon Moniker, another Bryan Danielson.
Me either. Oh, very cool.
Another Neon. Ooh. Whoa, you're getting a hell of a pack. We've got Dax Hardwood.
This is a great pack.
A Dazzler.
Great pack.
That's also, what is the, man, you're getting all kinds of cool ones. There's the Protostar. There is the entire Patriarchy.
Oh,
hey, baby. Adam Cole, picking Adam Cole out of a pack.
There we
cards.
go. Great pack. Perfect pack now.
And Danny Garcia.
Oh, great pack.
Wonderful. Great pack. You can get your packs, any of the 2025s, including the 2024s and the 2024 Allure, which is our personal favorite pack. You can go get that if you visit upperdeck.com. That's upperdeck.com. Thank you very much to Upper Deck for supporting our episodes. We have multiple questions today. If you want a question answered, go to tbs.com/arcade mailbag. Chugs, who do we have first?
First and foremost, we have a question from David. David, thank you very much for the question. David says, "Hey, Chugs and Uno, great job as always with the pod. It's always the highlight of my week." Thank you. My question is, for those who aren't hardcore gamers, could you explain what roguelike games, Metroidvania games, and Souls-like games are? That is a great question,
Great
David.
question.
Really good question.
I will. Let's see if we can do it justice. So, roguelike games actually have the type of game has kind of changed over time. But originally, it's based on Rogue, and Rogue was a first-person video game where you would go room to room. And let's say you would go to a room, you would choose left, straight, right, you would go right, so on and so forth. You would do some combats, you would find items, you would get keys, and you would unlock doors. And the thing that that Rogue did is that if you died, you got to restart the level, and it would restructure a little bit. Eventually, roguelike nowadays is less about that first-person aspect, and it is way more about the fact that the levels are procedurally generated. It is not just one type of level. It will be an amalgamation of multiple rooms. So a very basic type is, let's say you were to walk into level 1, you might have a shop level, you might have a combat level, and you might have like a boss, and you might have like just a connecting room. Well, every time you would replay it, they would be restructured. And now that's obviously on a much larger scale, but that is a basic way of doing it. And then if you add the extra layers to it, you would have weaponry that is changed every single time you go into that. You would have artifacts or supporting medallions or anything that would affect, do status effects to your things or do effects to your stats. That would change every single time. So roguelike now is more procedurally generated games. It's about doing small runs that always changes the run. Even though it's the base format that moves around, it makes it different, and you can build on that. And now also you can also do permanent upgrades. That's kind of been like the level up to what roguelike games are, and that could be in any type. Now you can make a roguelike game out of a first person, a third person, out of puzzle games, out of card games. It is more the procedural element of it. Metroidvanias, on the other hand, and I think both of us can talk about this. I will just say this. The name says itself. It is based on Metroid, Super Metroid, its structure, which I don't think Metroid invented the structure, but it's the most famous game that does that structure for sure.
Yeah.
And Castlevania, which is a very similar structure to Metroid. Metroid, it is more... it's a side scroller, room to room, but you expand on your powers so that you can unlock more. Whereas Castlevania was the same type of overlay and view, but it was more combat focused. Castlevania kind of melds both together,
exactly. Like you had said, it's just a combination of Super Metroid and Castlevania. But I think generally speaking, and again, this can vary in small ways, but to me, a Metroidvania oftentimes has exploration at the forefront of the play style. For example, oftentimes it is one giant map, and maybe you'll go left and then you get to an area where you have a ledge that's a little bit too high, so you can't go that way. So then you have to go the opposite way until you find either a key item or an ability to allow you to access these new areas. So whether it's a crack in the ground or a higher ledge, going and finding these abilities to unlock to allow you to perform this different exploration is really, really important. And again, going off of abilities, that's also something where not only in addition to backtracking and being able to access these new areas, but you will find things like a double jump or a dash or a grappling hook, all these things where you get more and more powerful and more abilities as the game goes on. Obviously, combat is a huge part of it too. Metroidvanias are known, or at least most of them, for their fairly difficult boss encounters. And in some cases, you need to unlock a certain ability to be even able to defeat or fight said boss. But once again, very combat heavy with really, really cool fights. Also, the platforming in a lot of Metroidvanias is really, really cool and challenging as well. But I'd say the biggest thing for sure is backtracking, exploration, almost like and a lot of them too, this is not always the case, but a lot of them like side-scrolling style where it almost seems like it would be a beat 'em up or something, but there's really so much more to it, whether it be the exploration, the combat, or things like that. So Metroidvania is one of my favorite genres of video games. And speaking of one of my favorite genres of video games, Souls-like games are last on this list. And once again, in a lot of ways, some Souls-like games could be almost like a 3D Metroidvania. Lots of them are 3D action games in the sense of backtracking and collecting key items to let you access a new door or a new area. But really, generally speaking, I think the soul, no pun intended, of a Souls-like game is its combat. So oftentimes in Souls-like games, there's a stamina bar that you have to really, really pay attention to. If you run out of stamina, then you're completely exposed and then you get hit. So stamina is really, really important. Oftentimes, too, there will have RPG elements in the sense of like leveling up your health, or your stamina, or your strength, or dexterity, or your intelligence, all these different ways or things that you can level up. Also, a bunch of different play styles you can do. You could be someone with a really, really big sword that's all strength and slow, or you could be a faster character with like a dagger who can roll a lot quicker and attack a lot quicker, but it doesn't do as much damage. Or you can do magic. Oftentimes, that is the case as well. So you have complete freedom in that sense of the RPG elements and paying attention to your stamina bar. Also incredibly important is either dodging or parrying attacks. It's not a type of game where you can just stand there and just mash the attack button and defeat an enemy. You will die if you play the game that way. So you really have to pay attention to the timing of said enemies. And once again, oftentimes it's either a dodge bar or a parry bar. And then of course, I think this kind of goes without saying, but Souls games are known for their difficulty. Yes. Oftentimes where bosses are really challenging and you have to accept that you will die over and over and over again until you finally overcome it. And I mean this, I think as far as like a rewarding genre of video games, to me, there's no more rewarding genre than a Souls-like game. After being stuck on a area or a boss for a really long time and finally doing it, that rush that you get is so much fun. So yeah, that to me is kind of I don't know if you have anything to add in regards to the Souls-like games, but that to me is kind of the premise or the identity of what Souls games are.
I think you're 100% correct on all of that. Yeah. I think a big element also that sometimes people will say it will be Souls-like without it being a Souls game. And most of the time that is because it involves such high difficulty and parry and dodge systems that the only association they can make to another game is how difficult a Souls-like game is and how much of that is at the forefront of those games. Because those games make sure that it is hard to achieve what you're going to achieve, because that is the reward. The reward in a Souls-like game is the achievement. It is not, yes, you could get a cool sword, yes, you could get a cool armor, but truthfully, you just want to beat the boss. Beating the boss is the reward. When you finally overcome that challenge, that is kind of what a Souls-like game is. It might apply because some people will say, like, for example, we've talked about Metroidvanias and we've talked about roguelikes. Some people will say, oh, this game is a Metroidvania Souls-like game. And what they mean is that it's a Metroidvania game. It has combat, but the combat is so challenging, so hard, that it takes Souls-like elements, and that's kind of how you meld both. But yes, everything you said, though, 100% correct. And hopefully that is good enough for all of you out there as explanations. Yeah. And if you think we didn't do well enough, give it a shot. YouTube.com/AWGames. Get in those comments and let us know what we missed.
Yeah, amazing question, David. Great question. Question number 2, Gilberto says, question for both of you guys, and this is my first time on here. Well, welcome. Do you guys think we will ever see PlayStation exclusives on Xbox, like Spider-Man and God of War? Thank you, and keep kicking butt on the podcast. Gilberto, thank you very much for the question. I don't think that will happen. Do I think it's possible? Of course. I think anything's possible for sure. But I do think Sony and Nintendo have been so protective of their first party properties that imagining that ever happening is kind of challenging for me. Now to play devil's advocate, I never in a million years thought we'd see Gears of War on a PlayStation console. But here we are. However, I think unless Sony finds themselves in a situation where they're like losing a ton of money on their software, and they really need to make some new moves and put these titles elsewhere, which I know we're seeing little previews of that with like delayed releases on PC and things like that. But it's really hard for me to imagine. I know Nintendo wasn't involved, but Sony or Nintendo ever getting to a point where they're releasing their titles on platforms that are not their own.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think no. I feel like Sony is so protective of their IPs, but more specifically, their dominance on hardware console systems. Sony's done incredibly well on the last 3 iterations of their major console. PS5 is one of the is at the forefront of consoles. It's sold more than everyone else, except maybe Switch 2 might catch up at this point. And PS4 and PS3 and PS2 also did so incredibly well. I cannot see them take any of their IPs and throw them on Xbox because it gives you a reason to buy an Xbox over a PlayStation. Now, there is a weird caveat where they have dropped them on PC, and in a weird move, most PC run Microsoft and therefore are an Xbox wing. Xbox is a wing of Microsoft. So even that I thought was going to be an impossible thing that Sony would ever do, but they wanted a piece of the PC market, and so they release on a 1 year delay on those. I cannot see them try to do that on console, but maybe maybe I have to bite my tongue. You just never know, because by next console, if they're not the dominant one, maybe that is the next move. But at this very moment, I just can't see them, and as well Nintendo, ever doing that because the exclusivity of their big IPs, and they have some of the strongest IPs, is the strength that they have right now. I just cannot see them, taking that card away from their hand for sure.
Exactly, and Microsoft's strength right now is how accessible all their games are. That's the approach they're going. Obviously, Sony and Nintendo, like you said, their biggest strength is those first-party titles, and Xbox was in third place for a while, and they're like, what can we do to change it up? And they're going the opposite approach. They want everything to be able to play their games.
Yes.
So very cool approach, and that's certainly, I think, gonna help Xbox a lot. But thank you very much for the question. Really appreciate it. And last but not least, Dennis, thank you very much for the question. Dennis says, hey, dudes, what do you consider this year's co-op game of the year?
I think we both know the answer to this one. Please go ahead.
Split Fiction.
Oh, yeah.
By a mile. So I still have not finished Split Fiction, but I played probably about half of the game. Absolutely incredible co-op game. Again, the hype surrounding this game before I even played it was huge, so my expectations were really high, and it's delivered in every sense of the word. And I mean, also, for some people, this is not their co-op game of the year. This is their game of the year.
Yes.
This is a really awesome title. So for me personally, again, tons of cool co-op games to play, but Split Fiction is going to be the king this year, I bet.
Yeah, Hazelight Studios have made like a Way Out. They made this. They made It Takes Two. Their focus and they made Brothers as well, which was an incredible game.
Yes.
They're specifically making co-op games. There's almost no other developer out there who is as focused on co-op games as this developer. And they've made incredible games before. Split Fiction seems to be another, I think the thing that they do that's very cool is that it's not one type of game. You never play one type of co-op game. You're actually playing an amalgamations of all co-op games, and they're very good at storytelling. They have some very poignant stuff.
Oh yeah.
Very good exploration of two characters at all times. So by far, I think that is the best game of the year when it comes to co-op. I've not played all of them, but I'd be very surprised if there's a game that tops it this year. So yes, do go your way and do play Split Fiction.
And again, to touch base on it, you're so right about the studio just strictly being focused on that co-op game experience, and you can tell because to me, again, they are the kings of it right now.
Yes,
like they're so good. I'm so glad that's making a comeback because there's something that is so fun about sitting there with a friend, a family member, and enjoying a video game together. And again, Split Fiction just has nailed it in every sense of the word. So I can't wait to see what else the studio ends up making because they've done an excellent job.
Thank you, Dennis, for your question. Thank you, everyone that has sent a question out today. If you want your questions answered on a next episode of All of the Arcade, you can go to tbs.com/arcade mailbag. Anyone from North America can send in a question. We love answering them. Is by far our favorite part of the show. And honestly, we get caught off guard so many times with these questions, things we would have never have thought about. So please keep them coming. It helps a whole lot. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube or if you're anywhere on a podcast network. We are available Monday morning every single week. Our video format drops noon Eastern Standard Time on Mondays as well. I am on Twitch, twitch.tv/eviluno. The Chugs is also on Twitch. What will you be playing there this week?
I am also at twitch.tv/the Chugs. Again, I put the 5-game cycle on hold for a little bit because going forward, in the future, I'm going to be continuing the Liza P. Overture DLC. So if you want to come and watch a Souls-like game, watch me play some really, really awesome bosses and incredible DLC, and die a whole bunch, twitch.tv/the Chugs for the Liza P. Overture DLC.
Perfect. I will not be streaming probably this week as I am on the road, but going into July, the big Donkey Kong game comes out, and I will 100% be streaming that, so do be back on there, twitch.tv/eviluno. We also have twitch.tv/AW Games every Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually MXM is hosting a bunch of friends for a co-op game. This next few weeks, it'll be myself hosting some people. So twitch.tv/AW Games, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you subscribe there as well. We appreciate you all for listening. We could not do this without you. I hope we will see you again, and I hope you will listen to us again next Monday for another episode of All Elite Arcade. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.